right, so I'm a teacher, and I teach at Clemson Architecture Center here in Charleston. I love what I do, and I'm thankful to get to do what I do. But my path to this career and standing here before you tonight has been an unlikely one. As a graduate student in architecture at Clemson, I often felt a bit out of place. The talents that I may have had never seemed to translate to the projects at hand. I tended to dwell on the details, and I had trouble with the broad concepts of my architectural designs. I never felt finished with a project, and that frustrated me to no end. So after struggling a couple of years and trying to work through conventionally as a student, I finally decided to play to my strength and make the details in architecture rather than just design them. I spent more time in the wood shop than in the studio, and I found that I could produce more thoughtful and inspired projects that way. These images that you're seeing are from my thesis work. This project was a site model that pivoted and conveniently provided aerial and street views. And then this one here is a student workstation that I designed for a conceptual architecture school with an open plan and no dedicated studio space, so students could roll their desks together or outside, library, shop, wherever they like to work. So I was realizing at this time that the typical path to the profession of architecture was not going to be for me. I had to find a way to bridge that disconnect between designing and making. So when I moved to Charleston, I was encouraged to meet John Jeffers at JMO Woodworks. And after that meeting, I realized that there was a niche for me to design and fabricate architecture. And I developed this concept over 10 years working with John and his brother Hugh at JMO. A few other people who've inspired me over the years are Hans Wegner, who's a Danish furniture designer, worked as a child apprentice to a master cabinet maker before studying architecture. Dieter Rams there in the middle, he began his education as, in architecture, followed by an apprenticeship in carpentry, and then was hired by Braun to design and be their lead designer for 30 years. Peter Zumpter there, he's a Swiss architect and the son of a cabinet maker. And he's been able to incorporate his knowledge of materials into modernist construction and detailing. And his buildings explore that tactile and sensory qualities of spaces and materials while retaining a minimalist feel. So at the CAC, this is one of 3 satellite locations for students to spend a semester from main campus. Currently around 20 students come to study in Charleston every semester, and 10 of those students take my studio, which is design build centric. This project you see here, we did with Mark Sloan at the Halsey Gallery. It was called Blue Sphere. It was an Earth Art Expo bringing sustainability education to Charleston. This first project was a kiosk that we designed, and it was in Marion Square, and 90% of the materials used for this project were recovered from construction site dumpsters. And all of the materials used were then transported later to Clemson and repurposed for design build projects there. This is a mobile movie screen that we designed, as well as a trailer that takes it from site to site. And this screen unfolds like a jackknife and can transport on that trailer that was built by students. So working within the Charleston community is a big part of what we do and with the students while working on these projects. For this project, we worked last fall, we partnered with the Charleston Parks Conservancy and the City of Charleston's Department of Parks to build a seating and shade structure on the Corinne Jones Playground in Wagner Terrace neighborhood here in downtown Charleston. In the 16 weeks that make up the semester, the students researched, designed, presented proposals to the Neighborhood Association, consulted with architects, engineers, tradesmen, and women, and actually a retired concrete foreman who happened to pass by while we were working and then imparted his skills for the next 3 or 4 days. We presented construction documents to the city for approval. We calculated for and ordered all materials, built the formwork, poured over 20 cubic yards of concrete, that's nearly 75,000 pounds, milled and constructed wood benches, the trellis structure, and twisted nearly 200 sticks of steel for the louvers, all within a $7,500 budget in a 16-week scope. The transformation of this park has done wonders for the neighborhood and reciprocally has made a lasting impact on the students who worked on it. Now bear in mind, these students range in age from 20 to 30 years old. None of them have any practical construction experience. And we have some graduate students that have architecturally worked, and that's very helpful, but all the techniques and processes are learned on the fly and during the semester. This project last semester, we partnered again with the Halsey Gallery to create a viewing platform inside the gallery to better appreciate the artwork of Japanese artist Motoi Yamamoto. Motoi lays intricate laceworks of salt on the floor, which at the end of the show is collected and returned to the sea. So the struggle for the students this semester was to build something to hold large numbers of people and to aid in viewing the artwork, while not competing with it. One of the most unique parts of this design process were the meetings that we held via Skype with Motoi while he was still in Japan, and we had a translator there to help us with that process. The design required steel to be the primary material, so the students learned to weld and learned how to move very heavy things. The product consisted of 4 large steel sections that we built off-site and then reassembled on-site. And one of my favorite teaching moments so far has been to see the look of pride on the students' faces at the show opening when hundreds of people stood in line to experience the artist's work from what they had constructed. So again, we are working with the Halsey this semester on a show that opens in a couple of weeks. It's called the Pulse Dome Project, which features the art of Don Zenfania. Here's a sneak peek of what we're about to propose. Yes, that's right. That's a dome made of bamboo on the fountain on the corner of King Street and Calhoun and next to Marion Square. So look forward to that around Thanksgiving. And lastly, we need your help. The new home for the Clemson Architecture Center and the Historic Preservation Program, it's part of Clemson and the College of Charleston, and other allied programs are attempting to set a benchmark for contemporary work that augments this historic city but speaks to the future. Okay, we're going to build an enduring, iconic structure for creative enterprises. And tomorrow at the BAR, it is going to be debated within the community, and we would love your support to show up and speak to the support of that building. So thank you very much.